You might ask yourself, why did the Biden administration's Justice Department ask the Supreme Court to let Title 42 stay in place while they come up with a plan? But I think what you've heard from my colleagues is that what you're seeing now is the plan. The plan is to let anybody and everybody who wants to come to our country, primarily through my state, the state of Texas, let them come in and place them in the interior of the United States, many of whom will never show up again for an immigration court hearing in the future. And not only does this benefit the human smugglers that are charging thousands of dollars for each person that they smuggle into the United States, and who coach them to say the magic words so they can invoke our asylum laws. But this also enriches the drug lords and drug runners that smuggled the drugs into the United States that took the lives of 108,000 Americans last year alone. We've heard a lot about fentanyl, synthetic opioids. 71,000 of those 108,000 who died, Americans who died as a result of fentanyl poisoning. And I have to agree with my colleagues who said the Biden administration can see with their own eyes and hear with their own ears what's going on. So why don't they do something? Well, I think the answer to that is they don't care. That's a hard thing to say. How can you not care about 108,000 Americans losing their lives due to drugs being smuggled across the border? But I don't know what other conclusion you could draw. Unless anybody thinks that this is a product of the violence and poverty in Central America and Mexico, if you go down to the border and look at the list of people who are being detained, who are coming across the border, they come from as many as 150 different countries. 150 different countries. What that tells me is that if you have enough money, you can take a ride from wherever you are and make your way to the southern border and then invoke the asylum laws and be then transported into the interior of the country, given a slip of paper and say, show up for a court hearing. And does it surprise anybody that a large percentage of those individuals simply don't show up because the backlog of the immigration courts will take years to clear? And as long as there's no enforcement by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which there is not under this administration, then you're pretty much made it. And the ones that are mainly benefiting from this are the cartels that are literally reaping billions of dollars in profits as a result of their human cargo that they smuggle into the United States as the illegal drugs that come in. And by the way, if you're concerned about crime in our communities, once the drugs come across the border, how are they distributed? Well, primarily through criminal gangs. Why do you see gun violence in places like Chicago every weekend? Because the gangs are fighting for market share and for territory so they can continue to engage in the drug sales in those areas. This is all connected to what's happening at the border. The Biden administration should be ashamed, but I can only conclude, based on everything we've seen and everything we've heard, that they simply don't care.